Hello and welcome to Nationwide. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. Thanks for joining us. The queues, which usually characterized the continuous voter registration centers in the past, have disappeared, a feat attributed to the introduction of technology. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who inspected some centers in the Federal Capital Territory, says he is happy with the process. Mayor Ogidi reports.
Liberia is in the process of migrating from manual voters register to online register, so on a study tour to Nigeria. The visit is timely, so the INEC chair of Nigeria takes its Liberian counterpart on a walk to the Federal Capital Territory office of INEC for on-the-spot scene.
That is the option of physical registration in addition to the completion of the online registration. So far, so good. You don't see the kind of crowd that we used to see during registration.
In that the Electoral Commission of Nigeria has invested much in the technology. Another lesson learned is that the earlier you start, the better your process.
More than 1.1 million pre-online registrations recorded in 4 weeks and still counting. Now time for the physical aspect for those that have completed the pre-online registration.
It's very efficient and very fast. You will not waste time, you will do it as you come, no delay, no waste of time actually.
So now, both pre-online and the physical aspects of the continuous voter registration exercise are going on simultaneously, and it will end on the last day of June 2022. Mayor Ogede, NTA News.
Still on matters relating to politics, the Court of Appeal has declared Jerigbe Agom Jerigbe as winner Cross River State Northern Senatorial District by-election. It orders INEC to issue a certificate of return to him. Details will come in our subsequent bulletin. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal, Abuja Division, says a High Court of the Federal Capital Territory lacks jurisdiction to look into political party matters outside the FCT. Setting aside a June 9, 2021 judgment of the High Court of the FCT, which removed the Anambra State PDP executives, the three-man panel of justices led by Justice Stephen Ada held that the High Court of the FCT should not have concerned itself with matters outside its jurisdiction. The trial court had in its earlier ruling ordered the PDP to adopt only the list of inaugurated party officers and delegates who emerged from the Anambra PDP congresses conducted on November 28, 2017 and December 1, 2017, validated by the Senator Grace Bent Ward Congress Appeal Panel Report and the Ukairo Local Government Appeal Panel Report. And away from political matters, the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, has reaffirmed the commitment of the federal government to ensuring prompt payment of salaries as well as the general welfare of workers. A statement from the office indicates that this was when the leadership of the National Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria paid him a courtesy visit, during which Idris noted that government is not oblivious of the importance of a well-motivated workforce, adding that the federal government will continue to work assiduously to eliminate hitches which may occur in the system so that prompt payment of workers' salaries will be sustained. The Accountant General of the Federation congratulates executive members of the National Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria on their victory at the elections and prays that their tenure would be devoid of rancor and unnecessary conflict. He advises the leadership of the association to focus on issues which promote unity and the well-being of members and the country at large. Meanwhile, the head of civil service of the Federation, Yemi Fola Shade Yemi Esho, has re-echoed the need for civil servants to prepare for retirement while in service. This was during a town hall meeting on effective pension administration in the public sector, organized to ensure befitting retirement for workers. Musa Abubakar reports.
Life after service and pension is a conversation every civil servant and labor union members are eager to have, just as grey areas continue to mount in the implementation of pension reform and concern over plight of pensioners. This interactive session, convened by the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation, seeks to address challenges to effective pension administration in the public sector.
The Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation established a standing committee, provides the opportunity for critical stakeholders to meet and proffer solutions to some of the knotty issues. These and other initiatives are to ensure that retired officers have rightful access to their entitlements.
Just a couple of weeks, the President gave this approval of over 100 billion to the contributory pension scheme, and then part of which is being used now to settle some of the areas.
Now that we have this consequential adjustment, because a lot of these state pensioners are, the bulk of their pension is coming from the states. And as it is now, a lot of states are not taking care of their pension liabilities.
The focal point is to learn more about the workings of the pension reform and chart a way forward for civil and public servants to enjoy the fruit of their labor after service. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Key players at the Nigerian Prize for Leadership National Leadership Dialogue Series say the revenue challenge must be addressed for the federal budget to have greater impact on citizens. The theme of the dialogue series is Rethinking the Economy, from process to funding, budgeting for whom? Hamman Jabani reports.
Budget has many variants which has a direct link with the requirement as well as the purpose, with an estimation of revenue and expenses over a specific future period, and is usually complied or re-evaluated periodically for a person, a group of people, government, or just about anything else that makes or spends money.
Reworking the economy requires a decision at doubling the economic growth of the nation every year. For Nigeria, if the population growth is at 4% and GDP growth at 1.7%, there will be a gap, and poverty will fill that gap.
The lead speaker, Chairman, Nigerian Prize for Leadership Finance and Funds Mobilization Committee, Senator Ibrahim Ida, who spoke extensively on the processes of budgeting in Nigeria, believes that the federal budget is national, while projects captured in a national budget are agreed upon by the legislature and the executive. The implementation is the function of the executive.
We do not have a concrete national plan that is drawn up on the basis of the reality of the situation, and that could be translated on yearly basis with the national budgets.
On its part, Director General Budget Office of the Federation, the nation's budget is low in relation to its size and developmental challenges, while its current revenue generation must be sustained, as well as measures put in place to ensure full implementation.
A key source of independent revenues for the federal government is revenues generated by what we call is government-owned enterprises, the parastatals and other similar agencies. The federal government over the years has invested about 40 trillion naira cumulatively in these enterprises.
Other speakers say the need to take care of the nation's microeconomy is vital to the effort to create wealth, while the revenue to GDP ratio must not fall below the African average of 20%. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
A national security summit for crime correspondents has brought to the fore how the COVID-19 outbreak, drug abuse and mental health are threatening the security architecture. The summit also explored possible ways of reducing their negative impact in the country. Francis Fom reports.
Festus Fifen has been reporting crime for many years, but the job of a journalist does not only end in reporting issues as they happen. And as he and his colleagues have learned at this summit, they are expected to further investigate such issues and provide solutions.
That the pen is mightier than the sword. We have left that part of having to play some kind of journalism that attacks people to what we call developmental journalism.
We are therefore here to hear from experts and draw a conclusion on the way forward.
The summit, which probed critical national issues with the aim of contributing to national discourse, has input from the police and other security experts.
We believe that if cannabis is legalized, the crime rates that we have today may triple.
If you are into drugs, you can do anything, criminality, murder, robbery, banditry, kidnapping, and what have you.
The primary objective of national security shall be to strengthen the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to contain instability, control crime, enhance genuine development, improve the well-being and quality of life of every citizen.
So I think these are very useful discussion, and I want to encourage the discussion to continue beyond this meeting.
It has been established at the summit that enhanced collaboration is needed to tackle the threats to national security. Franks is from NTA News.
Meanwhile, 105 victims have been rescued, while 42 bandits and terrorists have been eliminated in different joint operations of the armed forces across the country. The Acting Director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyoku, stated this in a news conference in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
Another round of periodic briefings by the Defense Headquarters and the stride recorded from 16 to 28 July 2021 formed the content. 105 kidnapped victims by Boko Haram and bandits rescued by troops was a major victory during the period under review.
The operation led to the neutralization of about 16 Boko Haram and Islamic West African province terrorists, as well as 29 of them were arrested, while 40 civilians who were kidnapped were rescued. 11 Boko Haram terrorists and their families, comprising of 5 female adults and 12 children, were arrested at FOB Mayanti.
Criminals vandalizing railway infrastructure, cooling off in the hands of troops of Operation Safe Haven in Plateau.
Bandits and 5 armed robbers were neutralized and several others escaped with gunshot wounds, while 12 others were arrested. A total of 12 assaulted rifles, a truckload of stolen railway tracks and sleepers were also recovered in the course of these operations. A total of 17 kidnapped victims were also rescued from their abductors.
Troops of Operation Delta Safe in the coastal region have also upscaled the fight against the nation's economic saboteurs in the area, and there is no going back on the onslaught, the Defense Headquarters assured. From the Defense Headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The National President, Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOA, Salamatu Farouk Yahya, is soliciting more funding for the association's humanitarian activities across all army formations in the country. Speaking during a courtesy call on the Chief of Army Staff in Abuja, she noted that NAOA is committed to implementing developmental projects for families in the barracks for effective results.
I wish to passionately appeal to the Chief of Army Staff to enhance discipline, integrity, loyalty, and confidence amongst wives of Nigerian Army personnel in support of Nigerian Army mission while carrying out humanitarian services and capacity development within and outside the barracks community.
We are always willing to support your activities because, in actual fact, supporting your activities is supporting ourselves. Your activities are our activities.
The NAOA president also appealed for the completion of the Wellness Center initiated by the former national president of the association, Mrs. Fatia Tahiru, wife of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru. President Muhammadu Buhari has extended warm felicitations to His Majesty King Mohammed VI of Morocco on the 22nd anniversary of his ascension to the throne. In a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the President wishes the King good health and prosperity, saying His Majesty's reign has witnessed very impressive economic and social development in Morocco, also contributing to regional peace, stability and development. The President says Nigeria values the excellent fraternal relations between the two countries and looks forward to building on the significant progress achieved so far under the renewed bilateral relations between them. It's now time to join our Lagos studios for more reports. Let's join Kehinde.
Hello, Najatu, and welcome to Lagos. With the target of ensuring food security for an increasing population, as well as enhance agricultural yields, the federal government has embarked on another round of human capital development on the sector with training for youth in Lagos. Imole Tukide Ogunfowora reports that the National Directorate of Employment is anchoring the training on behalf of the federal government.
These are farmers upon whose industrious shoulders Nigeria's quest for food sufficiency lies. They were carefully selected from the Sustainable Agriculture Developmental Scheme, which was held 3 months ago at various training centers in Lagos State. This training, which will run for a week, targets helping farmers remain relevant during their off-season, as well as equip them with the knowledge of how to preserve and prolong the lifespan of their produce and better ways to manage them. Samuel Osifuye has been a farmer for the past 1 year. He has his eyes set on expanding his business in order to meet the food need of the country.
I expect to get more knowledge, more than what I got at the first stage.
Apart from encouraging unemployed Nigerians to take up agriculture as a means of livelihood, the training is one of the initiatives by the federal government to ensure that the agricultural sector lived up to its billing as a huge revenue earner for the country.
So it is a refresher course with the intent of settling them down, giving them a token or a loan to establish their own agri program.
And the major aim of all these things is to key in into the government policy of food sufficiency, food security.
Farmers and the unemployed in the society are advised to key into various government intervention programs in the agricultural sector to assess government incentives in order to improve their general welfare and enhance productivity. In Lagos, Imole Ayotukide Ogunfowora, NTA News.
Micro and small-scale medium enterprises remain the engine room for economic growth, which is why the federal government, through Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, provides the Market Hub app and MSME Digital Academy, among other platforms, to support these businesses. This was reiterated at this year's MSME's Opportunity Fair by the Director General SMEDEN, Diko Umararada, in Lagos.
This opportunity fair is yet another platform provided by the federal government to provide over 200 micro and small-scale medium enterprises within the Southwest Zone, which has the highest number of businesses to network and showcase made in Nigeria products.
The process of us producing is to do proudly made in Nigeria, and our things are well exportable, that we can showcase and be proud of what we do as Nigerian and to the world.
Actually attended the training last month, and it was was a wealth of knowledge.
As part of COVID-19 recovery plans from the federal government, several initiatives such as the One Local Government, One Product, in addition to the forthcoming national survey, will provide proper structure and foster growth of these businesses.
We are doing it in conjunction with the National Bureau of Statistics, and the essence of doing it is to get a statistics and of what the MSMEs are doing, how they are.
The need for robust development of the MSMEs subsector to accelerate economic stability and job creation was re-emphasized.
We have done conditional grants, cash grant scheme. We're still doing it now. We came to Lagos in 2019. We've covered almost half of all the 774 local government, where we give out cash grants free of charge to micro businesses to help them sustain and grow their business.
MSMEs subsector accounts for 41 million businesses and provides over 59 million full-time employment in Nigeria. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos at this hour. We'll take a short break now. Next.
Welcome to Port Harcourt. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has called for the creation of self-reliant defense industrial sector that will be driven by local technological inputs that meets the needs for assembling modern military weaponry, equipment, missiles, and other combat capabilities. This was a submission of the governor as the keynote speaker at the Nigerian Army Combat Support Arms Training Week 2021 holding in Port Harcourt. Ogedin Yekwe has details of this.
Expositing on the theme of the week, building the capacity of the combat support arms towards optimizing the utilization of indigenous technology in support of Nigerian army operations, Governor Wike noted that all over the globe, countries are modernizing their armies, increasing their weapon system, strengthening the efficiency and combat readiness in response to the changing nature of the modern time battlefield. He said Nigeria cannot be different in having a military force that can easily deter external aggression, meet internal and regional needs and objectives, as well as defeat threats to national security.
The quality, operational capacity and competence of our armed forces is contingent on the ability to provide impregnable fortress and safeguard to the sovereignty, security, development interests of our country.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, says the activities of the week will broaden the horizon of the participants.
The combat support arms have continued to provide effective and efficient support to the combat arms, especially in counter-insurgency operations in the Northeast, as well as other operations across the length and breadth of the country.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, had earlier paid a courtesy call on the governor at Government House, who advised him to be apolitical and discharge his duties with the highest sense of professionalism. In Port Harcourt, Ogedin Yekwe, NTA News.
Former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, says his meeting with Governor Wike is aimed at reconciling salient issues that border on the unity and stability of the People's Democratic Party. Ogedin Yekwe reports that the former Vice President spoke to Government House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with the governor. Her reports.
Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who described the discussion with Governor Wike as fruitful, said their deliberations bordered on critical issues affecting the party that are paramount in ensuring that the People's Democratic Party clinch electoral victory in 2023.
I came here to consult with the governor, on party affairs and how we can ensure there is unity and stability of our party, so that we can take over government in 2023.
Speaking on the current security challenges, the former vice president described the prevailing situation in the country as disturbing, adding that something should be done urgently. Former vice president acknowledged the many successes that the Wike-led administration has recorded in the state and described him as a topmost governor among his peers in the party. In Port Harcourt, Ogedin Yekwe, NTA News.
That's our bit from Port Harcourt. Over to you, Najatu.
Thank you very much, Gabrielle. Now, hundreds of people in many vehicles have become stranded along Bauchi-Kano Road following the collapse of Mulka Bridge as a result of heavy downpour experienced Thursday night.
The
heavy downpour which started yesterday evening lasted 8 hours and caused overflowing of nearby rivers. The situation necessitated travelers from the two states to become stranded due to the collapse of the bridge in between Mulka and Tsangaya villages. According to some villagers around the area, the incident led to the drowning of 3 cars with about 20 people, while 17 were rescued and 3 still missing. The eyewitnesses further explained that this is the 3rd time such incident happened in the area annually. In Bauchi, Muaz Hassan, NTA News.
The 2022 completion target of the second Niger Bridge looks certain with the current pace of work. This development has received positive reactions from Deltans who have highlighted the economic benefits of the project. Austin Edemodu reports.
There is no dull moment at the construction site of the second Niger Bridge as the contractor works round the clock for timely delivery.
People are scared of going to the shop because of just the hold up you face on the single bridge we currently have there. But if the other bridge is available, it will hasten the move of goods and services across the state from the east to the west and from the west to the east. So it's of great economic importance.
I observed that there are scores of artisans who are working there, being trained and being retrained in modern technology. Those are people who are living here, who will be working here even after the bridge construction has ended.
Attention is now focused on the casting of the slabs for the launching of the 28 segments of the southern side of the bridge, which is at the 16th segment. Each of the segments take a week to launch. The western approach of the bridge from the Asaba end is gradually taking shape.
We're talking of the bridge. How about the access roads? How about what these access roads do to the real estate in this area? How does it do to community development, west of the Niger? So there are other benefits, that are accruing to us.
With the pace of work, there is optimism that the access roads from the western and eastern approaches will be completed for the second Niger Bridge to take off in 2022. I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Still on developmental projects, Kurudu and Angwangwari communities in the Federal Capital Territory are the latest beneficiaries of the federal government's Ecological Fund intervention aimed at attending to the ecological cries of communities across the country. Abdullahi Ajia has details.
In quick succession, communities in the nation's capital are counting their gains from ecological intervention from the federal government through the Ecological Fund Office. Kurudu and Angwangwari Karishi are the latest beneficiaries of this intervention that seeks to address erosion and flood concerns of the two communities. President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by a member representing Awe Duma, Kiana Federal Constituency, Abubakar Hassan Nalaraba, underscores government's sincerity in utilizing resources for the good of all citizens.
This project, which was one of the 5 additional ecological intervention projects approved by Mr. President, there is no doubt in my mind that the project will enhance and improve the health status, social economic activities, and general well-being of the people of these communities.
The benefits of these projects are obvious to all, as gully erosion, as well as we all know, has the capacity to cause very severe damage to property, disrupt economic activities, and even lead to loss of lives.
The project was hardly completed because of the effort of the contractor and the consultant who worked tirelessly to ensure that the project was completed in good time.
We'll do our best to see that this road is maintained.
And now to capacity building. A new book that will ensure standard and safety of electrical design and installations in homes and offices has been added to the shelf of the power sector as a guiding manual for technicians. The book, Practical Electrical Systems Installation, Work and Practice, captures the processes which guard against electrical faults and accidents. Joshua Ujitu reports.
Most reported cases of fire outbreak are attributable to electrical faults. So, it's time to halt the disaster through academic solution. This book, Practical Electrical Systems Installation, authored by the Managing Director of Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, comes to the rescue.
This book is going to address problems in houses, because it shows you the type of cables, what type of switches, what type of circuit breakers you have to use. And then when you now go to rural education projects, it shows you how electricity projects have been executed so that the project will endure, there will be stability, and at the same time, the project will have a long lifespan.
We all use electricity in our homes. We all know about electrical systems, how things are connected. So it's also good for us if we read it and after try and digest it. It helps us to understand better how we get power in our house and how things work around the house.
The book, third academic work of the NEMSA boss in his 30 years of engineering practice, receives the endorsement of many as an additional guiding manual for operators in the power sector. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the socio-economic challenges being experienced in the country have continually kept the National Orientation Agency on its toes. To improve on its service delivery, the agency has drafted a 5-year strategic work plan aimed at guiding its operations from 2021 through to 2026. Kenneth Nanim reports.
As an agency with the mandate of communicating government policies and programs to the general public, the National Orientation Agency acknowledges the need for a periodic review of its strategic work plan. This, the agency explains that inputs from the relevant groups and partners will bring its operations up to speed with the current realities.
We decided to invite all of you to have a look at what the National Orientation Agency intends to do in order to respond to the challenge of fight against corruption, deepening our democracy, inculcating the requisite democratic culture, accountability.
Here, participants are required to make suggestions that will strengthen the agency, human resources development and capacity building of staff, adequate funding and rebranding of the agency for it to have strong presence in rural communities. How best to create an enabling environment for national development and to achieve behavioral change where other areas requiring attention.
People come about with different ideas, different things, and the potency of the counter narrative is not too forward.
The challenge today is to rekindle the faith of our young people, especially in this country, as a growing enterprise.
Can we give them the money to do the work so that they can go and give the right education?
At the end of this forum, the agency is expected to have a comprehensive and updated 5-year strategic work plan that bridges the orientation gap among citizens. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
It's time to join Amina in our Kaduna Network Center for the continuation of Nationwide. Hello, Amina. For the continuation of Nationwide.
Welcome to Kaduna. All Progressives Congress Kaduna State says it is adopting a consensus arrangement in the coming Saturday Congress of the party. Haruna Mohammed reports that the State Deputy Governor Dr. Hadiza Balarabe stated this in Kaduna at the State Executive Meeting of the party.
After deliberations which lasted for about an hour on the Saturday Congresses, the party executives arrived at a common position towards strengthening the party with a clear message of unity. Part of the deliberations was the forthcoming Lady Federal Constituency election and the Kaduna State Local Government election.
We're leaving no stone unturned. We have learned lessons, very bitter lessons, and we do not want a repeat of those lessons. So everybody that matters in the state will be part of the mobilization for this by-election that is coming up?
Of course, we are very, very strong. I'm very confident that we are good to go for the election.
Well, is to continue to do well and come out en masse, not to be overconfident.
The Lere Federal Constituency by-election is scheduled for 14th of August. In Kaduna, Haruna Muhammad, NTA News.
Federal government is redesigning nomadic education in line with the current realities with a view to removing impediments against enrollment of nomads in school and enhance peace-building mechanism between farmers and herders in the country. This came to the fore at a workshop in Kano. Yohannes Hassanbaro reports.
Nigeria in the recent past has been grappling with issue of insecurity, which has negative impact on the socio-economic and livelihood of the populace. Notable among this sad trend is the farmer-pastoralist conflict, which has led to wanton loss of lives and property among the two warring parties. To address these daunting challenges, the present administration accorded priority to nomadic education through training of extension agents across the country. Abbas Ibrahim is in Kano to garner knowledge on human resource management, information and communication technology, technical report and financial accounting. He is optimistic that the initiative will go a long way in consolidating on the federal government change mantra.
These days, due to awareness campaigns we are carrying, things have changed drastically.
The human resource management that they are teaching us now here, they are teaching us on how to learn how to respect each other.
Particular groups that we are training now, they are part of the civil service. We are trying to train them on work ethics.
These measures put in place the hope for educational advancement and equitable growth the present administration has been clamoring for will in the near future come to fruition. In Kano, Yohannes Hassanbaro, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Nationwide continues with Ibadan.
For staying tuned and welcome to Ibadan. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced biometric registration and physical capturing of applicants from Imekwafon, Ogun State, in the ongoing nationwide continuous voters registration. Correspondent Tokwe Alabi has the report.
INEC's continuous voter registration afforded many eligible applicants the opportunity to first enroll online before appearing in person at INEC centers dedicated for biometric capturing.
The office is now open from 9 to 3 p.m. for both people that book appointment online with us and those that are fresh.
Jacob Olanase and Nahimat Surakat are 18 years old, and they are excited about the opportunity which they say will enable them to participate in the future elections in Nigeria.
They did biometric capture and they give me a temporary voter's card.
It was a nice one, registering with INEC this time.
The exercise is also included those who could not participate in the last registration exercise and also those seeking transfer of their voter registrations to another polling units due to relocation.
Expectations are that this continuous voter registration will capture more eligible voters to exercise their franchise. From the INEC office in Imeko, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
The federal government says its position on the regulation of the social media is in furtherance of national interest and in line with global best practices. This came to the fore at the opening of the two-day 2021 edition of the annual Roundtable on Cultural Orientation, ARTCO, by the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, NICO, in Ilorin. Damilola Balogun-Elebio reports that the theme of the meeting is culture, media and national cohesion in Nigeria.
The phenomenon of fake news and hate speeches, which has dominated the social media space, has no doubt taken its toll on the nation's peace, security, and national cohesion. They appealed to the media to shun sensational reporting and eschew fake news, stressing that sensitive reportage would help prevent or de-escalate conflict as the case may be. The speakers noted that neglect of cherished cultural values have contributed largely to the mirage of challenges bedeviling the nation today, noting that urgent and concerted efforts are therefore required for cultural reconstruction and reawakening to achieve the much desired socio-political and economic progress.
The neglect of culture and the breakdown of our cherished cultural values have contributed largely to the myriad of challenges bedeviling our nation today.
The replacement of our cherished cultural values of honesty, hard work, good neighborness, get-rich-quick syndrome, ethnic and religious bias have been the bane of our national cohesion and development.
There were goodwill messages by some stakeholders in the media and cultural sectors. Highlight of the event was a cultural display by the troupe of the Kwara State Arts and Culture. Damilola Balogun Elebio, NTA News.
Let's now rejoin Najatu in our Abuja studios for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Lanre. And thank you for rejoining our Abuja studios. 28 new wigs who excelled at the 2021 bar final examinations have received reward for meritorious performance. This was at the grand finale of the call to bar ceremony in Abuja. Olabode Arewa reports.
It was stressful. It was very stressful. It was mentally draining. I think it was the most difficult academic activity I had to do all my life.
That is Barrister Fatimat Alada expressing her joy on winning 16 prizes as the most outstanding law graduate at this year's event. She is one of the 28 new wigs who won awards for exceptional performance during their studies at Nigerian Law School.
It is something that we are going to dwell more into public interest lawyering, because that's my area of interest.
It's been my dream, and finally it's happening.
Chairman Body of Benches, Justice Bodiro's Vival, reiterated his earlier caution for the new wigs to toe the path of good conduct.
As we celebrate, I urge you to be responsible and avoid actions inimical to the ethics of the profession.
Parents of the new wigs were ecstatic about their children's graduation.
If there is anything we expect from the two of them, we expect them to carry on fighting for justice. They now have the weapon.
One of the tasks placed before the new wigs is to bring positive changes to the justice system. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
And in the labor and employment sector, Nigeria will no longer tolerate the excesses of labor recruiters who have continued to mortgage the future of our citizens for their selfish desires. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, said this in a message delivered at the 2021 World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, organized by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP.
The present administration has deliberately tilted the beneficiaries of our various poverty alleviation interventions and life support schemes to mainly youths and women in order to reduce their vulnerability and make them less tempted to be lured by human traffickers. These schemes include the Empower Program, the Trader Money, the Central Bank of Nigeria powered Anchor Borrowers Program, the Youth Entrepreneurs of Nigeria, and even the UWIN scheme, amongst others.
Some projects which include strengthening Nigeria's criminal justice response to trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants, as well as strengthening trans-regional action and response against smuggling of migrants, were unveiled to mark the day. The number of COVID-19 infections in the country has continued to rise, with the Nigeria Center for Disease Control confirming 558 new cases in 16 states within the last 24 hours. Lagos State tops the daily statistics with 376 new cases, while Oyo State follows with 33. Akwa Ibom has 26, the FCT 22, Imo 15, Bayelsa and Ekiti 13, Kano 12, Ogun and Plateau 11, Delta 9, Jigawa 6, Rivers and Zamfara 4, Edo 2, while Ebonyi has recorded a single new case. With this development, Nigeria now has 178,821 total confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 164,930 patients have been treated and discharged, while the death toll is now 2,141. Effective public-private partnership in hospital services remains paramount in building a healthy nation through an operational health insurance system. This was the position of the Executive Director, National Health Insurance Scheme, Mohammed Sambo, during an oversight to Garki Hospital, Abuja. Elizabeth Omorui reports.
Access to quality health care, medical experts say, depends largely on the availability of hospital services, affordable and open to the people. To make health services available to Nigerians, brought about this visit by the helmsman of the NHIS to assess critical hospital services.
A committee has been set up which has worked on the revision of the tariff, and the International Labour Organization ILO is studying what we have done, and very soon NHS will come up with an improved tariff. We are discussing with the manufacturers of drugs in Nigeria, who have agreed to partner with the National Health Insurance Scheme to produce drugs for the consumptions of the enrollees.
Managing Director of the hospital, Dr. Adamu Ono, who highlighted grey areas, noted that health insurance fraud and delay in payments by HMOs are still concerns for the enrollees and hospitals.
We studied our processes and we suggested to the software developer this is the best solution in tackling these issues within a hospital setting.
Consolidation of primary and secondary care and data surveillance were some of the areas brought to the fore. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Away from health matters, a group of educationists have commended the National Assembly for the passage of the Colleges of Education Amendment Bill. Speaking during a conference on the state of education by the Colleges of Education Staff Union, COASU, the group believed that if the bill is assented to, it would improve on the educational sector. Other issues raised include the need for more robust community stakeholder approach towards ensuring safety to complement government's efforts at protecting schools in the country.
We appreciate profoundly both committees of tertiary education of the National Assembly and the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and TEDFON and the House Committee on Tertiary Education and Services for the determination to pass the bill for the amendment of the Establishment Act of the Colleges of Education.
Significant work has been done across the state tertiary institution in support of teaching, learning and research, as well as infrastructural development, as mentioned few within the two colleges of education.
The group also made a case for scaling security efforts, especially those faced by communities around schools, and for people to be security conscious. Let's now join our sports desk for sports updates.